soft drink since the 80s. I haven't had a cigarette for close to 30 years, 28 years, I guess. I don't drink. I haven't had a drink of hard liquor. All right, that's not true. When I go to Mexico, I have a margarita. I have 2 or 3 margaritas a year, and I'll occasionally go get a Wendy's. Someone that people close to him realize should remind him that he's almost 70. He didn't get the memo, his oldest son, Jack Nicklaus II, says. Barbara says he never seems that old to her. Except that's not actually true. A sly smile comes to her face. Yeah, if I ask him to go shopping, oh, I can't walk on that cement. You walk how many miles a day? Yeah, but that's grass. That's on a golf course. Even his kids see him as something of a Superman. And the sinus infection is a subtle reminder that Jack Nicklaus cannot run hard forever. How long can he really do this? I hope a lot longer, Jack II says. Realistically, you have to imagine he's going to start slowing down. A few people who work with him have noticed that. He sometimes forgets a detail or two, and that never happened a decade ago. But the slips have been small, and day after day, Jack goes to work. He does it because he bores easily. He does it because he loves it. But mostly he does it for a deeper reason, to make sure that a business dependent on him can continue to grow when he's gone. We've got to transcend me, he says. Air Bear is not for the faint of heart. Not even Jack is immune to the ribbon. Like the time he signed an autograph for the well-endowed female fan, and when he got on the plane, his business partner, Tim Kenny, held up a cell phone with a picture on it, and it's Jack signing in all her cleavage glory, and Tim asked whether they should just go ahead and email it to Barbara. Or when Tolly cracks at him for being so hoarse, saying his voice sounds like Louis Armstrong. Tolly, who's the king of all imitation, goes down deep. I see trees of green, he sings. And then Jack joins in too, rumbling, red roses too. Everyone laughs. The cabin of the plane is often filled with laughter. And on this morning, as they get closer to the Dominican Republic, Jack begins to shake off some of the sickness. The idea of the afternoon's golf course work excites him, especially the holes on the front side that he needs to create from scratch. When he's feeling good, you can see it on the faces and hear it in the voices of the folks around him. When he's feeling really good, he starts to needle. Much of his humor is based on his awareness that the people around him are always intimidated. Strangers by the legend of Jack and his staff by the perfection he demands of them and of himself. He'll often wink before starting in. One afternoon, a CEO of a company dealing with him caught a ride on Air Bear. Someone deliciously pointed out that the CEO is wearing a Polo brand shirt, not a Nicklaus. Jack smiled. Game on. Polo, he said over the hum of the engines, his voice nasal. You got a Polo shirt on? The CEO tried to dance. No, I got a Nicklaus shirt. I just spilled coffee on it. Jack closed in. When did you spill coffee on it? A month ago? In 1997? Why would you even own a Polo shirt? They gave it to me for free. Who? Our salespeople. Why would they buy them knowing we have something of a relationship, which is hanging on by the thinnest of threads, I'd like to remind you. And a few minutes later, the CEO, worth untold millions of dollars on his own and wildly successful in his own field, was wearing his stained Nicklaus shirt over the polo. There is, of course, the tiniest chance that Jack wasn't totally kidding. Air Bear, the ultimate home field advantage, closes in on its destination. We'll probably stop that one there, too. Do folks have questions about either of those or anything at all? You're not going first. Yes.
Were you on the plane?
Yes. And I did not want to get off of it. It's one of the most heartbreaking moments ever because, we land and I've sort of grown to feel entitled to it. I walk through these little airports differently, And so we get to West Palm and, Jack is getting in his car to go home and I'm going to get on Delta to fly home. And I'm rolling through the little airport. I'm like, you don't understand. I was just on this. I'm better than that now. But no one seemed to buy it. Yes.
How'd you like Nicklaus? After spending time with him, what do you think about it?
I didn't know much about him, and I really like him because he's not impressed with himself, and like he is constantly confronted by the fact that people want to do things for him that he doesn't want them to do for him. He understands that he can't ever have a bottle of water next to an empty glass without watching it, because he doesn't want to drink it out of the glass. If he turns his head, someone will frantically come pour it in there. It happens everywhere he goes, and it drives him insane. And so he has to sort of watch to make sure nobody does that. And he can't stand talking about It's interesting, if you listen to him talk about a golf course or something he's doing now or his grandkids or whatever, he's incredibly animated and funny and interested in you and asking you questions. But the second somebody says, tell me about the 82 Open, you can watch him sort of power down. And then he tells the story in the exact same way that you've heard him tell it before, with the same words and the same inflections, and he just does it on autopilot. Yes. All right, now I'll take yours.
Like Gelf Thomas?
Yes.
Okay, so you got one story where you're in Brazil, in a jungle, trying to figure out how a crazy guy committed suicide. And you got another story where you're on a jet plane with the, American icon. How do they compare in terms of finding the right tone to tell the story and the right voice?
Well, I think.
Could you repeat some of that question back?
Yes. One of the stories is looking for a guy who's lost in the Brazilian jungle, and the other one is riding around on a G5 with this American icon, and he was asking about the choosing the right tone. And I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I felt like the tone for the thing in the Gulf Stream had to be incredibly conversational. And I felt like the tone in the other one, there were a lot of things you were trying to say. Nobody knew anything about it. Nobody came with any assumed knowledge. And so you wanted to make sure people understood the journey you were going on. And the Jack thing, no story writes itself, but it was kind of hard to screw that one up. You're with this incredibly interesting guy for a long period of time, and you just watch him go through his life. And so I wanted it to be more conversational. I don't know if it was. Yes.
I'm asking something that happened with one of your ESPN colleagues who I mentioned you were coming, he's a fan of yours, and in terms of the Tony Harris story and other stuff you noticed you write a fair amount about death, or at least that was his observation.
You mean Death Ticket? Yeah.
Yes. Do you have an obsession, or is it just made for good stories, or?
Well, my wife's in the front row, so I'm going to try to avoid talking about death too much. They're interesting. I don't like the circus story, the one-legged kicker, the blind wrestler, or I just feel like you read that and you're like, I don't relate to that at all. And I think that there are these things that everybody goes through and deals with, and a lot of that are normal people trying to deal with an emotion that every single human being goes through. You would think that would make it easy to handle, and it doesn't. Every single person has to handle these losses of people and things in their lives, and I like to see how ordinary people are different dealing with things everyone deals with, but they do them in dramatically different ways. I don't know, there is a run of them. Every now and then, if you want to do one funny, we did this thing, I started doing this thing about this old basketball player, and it was supposed to be goofy. And it's this guy, and it's the 73-year-old basketball player, and it's supposed to be this goofy, funny story, and then he turns out that, the guy's entire life is made up. And so there's this was going to be the fun one, and now, I'm reading his divorce. I don't know when this happened or why this happened. So yeah, if you have funny ideas, please talk to me. Yes.
Who are your biggest writing influences, journalistic and otherwise?
The biggest one for me is a guy named Willie Morris. He was a writer from Mississippi. He was the editor of Harper's. He was a friend of
Marcus Dupree.
Yeah, absolutely, a friend of Mr. Hershey back there, and he wrote about I'm from Mississippi, and he wrote about it in such a way